sector and development partners in Abuja, which was convened to address grey areas for a successful exercise nationwide. The minister explained that over 60% of funds needed for the census had been released, adding that funding intervention from the development partners remains key. The meeting was the second for officials of the National Population Commission, development partners, the diplomatic corps, and members of the private sector amid preparations for the National Housing and Population Census. One of the objectives of the meeting being how to source for funds for the exercise. The NPC promised to manage the funds in a transparent manner. With reports that there were pockets of insecurity when the NPC conducted the enumeration area demarcation in some local governments, the chairman of the commission allayed fears that the exercise may not hold in some communities. In Edo State, Governor Gordon Obaseki has described the judiciary as a stabilizing agent which has helped sustain the country's democracy and preserve the country from slipping into chaos. The governor believes that the confidence of the people in the judicial system has kept hope alive, especially after the last week's presidential and National Assembly elections. Governor Obaseki was speaking shortly after attending a valedictory session in honor of Justice Rita Nusaka Epema, who retires from the bench at the age of 70.
I will say that for the judiciary in Nigeria, as you know, it's the last hope for the citizens. You all saw what happened in our country last week, 25th. And the reason why we have the peace today and the calm in the country is because people know there's an institution where people believe that they can get justice. And therefore, they are holding back, shooting their swords until the outcome of the judicial process. Without the judiciary, can you imagine the crisis we could have been in as a country? So you cannot underestimate the role of our courts and the judiciary in any democracy. It is the underpin on which our democracy rests.
Speaking on the security of the judicial officers, especially the judges, Governor Obaseki notes that the only effective approach is to decentralize security as it is done in Edo State. He was reacting to concerns raised by the judges during valedictory session over the constant attacks on their members, especially in recent times.
We in Edo State have dealt with the issue of security largely by ensuring community participation and decentralization of our security system. We believe and advocate that for us to have effective security in this country, the security services, the security system must be decentralized and aligned with our federal arrangements. The federal government alone cannot secure the entire country. It's too large. So we advocate that there must be a rethink such that there's federal security, which should be well funded and strong. There should be state security and security services, and then local government security structure. It's only when we have this full complement can we cover the entire space of this country.
The Deputy Governor of Imo State, Placid Njoko, was among several dignitaries at the valedictory session which took place at the Benin Division of the Court of Appeal located at Igbowazinwi, GRA, Benin City. Moving on, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has approached the Court of Appeal in Abuja, praying it to vary the orders it granted for the candidates of the Labour Party, LP, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to be allowed to inspect sensitive materials that were used for the presidential election. INEC, in its legal process dated March 4th, urged the Appellate Court, which will sit as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, to vary the order to enable it reconfigure the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, it used for the presidential poll. The Commission told the court that the configuration was necessary since the BVAS would also be deployed for the next round of elections, starting with governorship and state assemblies elections billed for Saturday, as well as other rescheduled elections. According to INEC, without a prompt variation of the inspection order granted to Obi and Atiku, especially, they expect restraining it from tampering with formation contained in the BVAS, it would be difficult for it to proceed with the scheduled elections. In other news, the Ebonyi State Police Command has declared the All Progressives Grand Alliance governorship candidate for the 2023 elections in the state, Bernard Odo, wanted. Also declared were 9 others who are members and supporters of the party in the state. Their names are as follows: Samuel Aligwe, Peter Orogu, Chukudi Alewa, Chika Ezialigbo, Nemeka Egede, Nabuike Okoho, Ogobuchi Abom, Nonso Obasi, and Ikechukwu Ngoba. The police public relations officer, SP Onome Onora Boyeya, disclosed this in a statement on Monday. Hoodlums reportedly killed Odo's traditional ruler and supporter Igboke Ewa last week. But the Ebonyi state government has accused the APGA governorship candidate of being a suspect in the monarch's killing. Odo has repeatedly denied the allegation, reiterating that the late traditional ruler was his father and supporter, maintaining that it would be wicked and ludicrous for anybody to link him to the incident. In a statement made available to journalists in Abakaliki on Monday, Odo said he already obtained an order from the High Court in Owerri, restraining the police and other security agencies from harassing or arresting him until the matter brought before the court was determined by the court. The Federal High Court in Kano on Monday granted bail to the House of Representatives Major Leader Al-Hassan Adodogowa, who was standing trial over alleged culpable homicide, following widespread violence that led to death and arson in the Tundun Wada local government area of Kano State during last week's election. The police had arraigned Doguwa before a magistrate's court on charges of arson and murder. The lawmaker was arraigned for criminal conspiracy, culpable homicide, arson, and illegal possession of firearms, amongst others. But the counsel for the accused, Nureni Jimo SAN, applied for an ex parte order before Justice Nasir Yunusa Mohammed to grant the accused bail based on alleged infringement on his fundamental human rights and absence of jurisdiction by the magistrate's court that had remanded the accused. The presiding judge, Justice Muhammad, granted the application with 500 million naira. The case has been adjourned till April 10th, 2023 for further hearing. Coming up in a moment in our business news, CBN declares 52% loan repayment recorded under Anchor Borrowers Program. Details shortly.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 600 billion, and the last kobo. Oh yes, we follow the money. It's all about the business and the business of business. The gains and the losses. The bulls and bears. The rise and falls. The risk and the satisfaction of seeing the last kobo rise to millions. On KUFM's Business News, the simple and complex jargons of business just make sense. Get the trending news on the morning market, forecast, investment opportunities, policy changes, and other breakout information on the ever-busy world of business. KU Business News, Monday to Friday on our news dawn, 6:30 to 7 a.m.
Still on to News Dawn on KU 92.7 FM Benin City. On business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says the total repayment of loans under the Anchor Borrowers Program stood at 503 billion naira, representing 52.39%. The Acting Director, Corporate Communications Department, Abdul Mumin Isa, made this known in a statement on Monday. According to Isa, the CBN has released 1.079 trillion naira under the program out of which 960 billion naira is due for repayment. He said the ABP had supported about 4.57 million smallholder farmers who cultivated over 6.02 million hectares of 21 commodities across the country. ISA listed the commodities as rice, wheat, cowpea, millet, maize, cotton, fish, soya bean, poultry, cassava, groundnut, ginger, sorghum, oil palm, cocoa, sesame, tomato, castor seed, yellow pepper, onions, and cattle, dairy. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund in a recent report had said only 24% of loans collected by farmers under the ABP had been repaid. The IMF said the report was based on the information available at the time it was completed on the 12th of January. According to the IMF, agricultural credit in the country has not significantly succeeded in increasing production due to the difficulty in targeting the correct recipients. It said although the CBN allowed farmers to pay in cash or give the CBN their produce of the same value, repayments had been very low. Elsewhere, Nigeria's equities market opened the new week in green due to shares of Julius Berger, which rose most on the bourse from 24 naira 50 kobo to 26 naira 95 kobo, adding 25 naira, 2 naira, adding 2 naira 45 kobo or 10%. It was followed by International Energy Insurance, which increased from 1 naira 20 kobo to 1 naira 30 kobo, adding 10 kobo or 8.33%. Livestock feeds, which rallied from day open low of 1 naira 7 kobo to 1 naira 12 kobo, adding 5 kobo or 4.67%. The Nigerian Exchange Limited All-Share Index and market capitalization appreciated by 0.14% to close at 55,605.57 points and 30.291 trillion naira respectively. Transcorp, GTCO, UBA, Owando and Fidelity Bank were top 5 traded stocks on the exchange as investors in 4,076 deals exchanged 123,545,108 shares valued at 2.483 billion naira. And that's it from business. Of an art to sport, where Nigeria's Flying Eagles lose to Gambia in under-20 AFCON semi-final. More to come after this break. In sports, Nigeria's Flying Eagles failed to qualify for the final of the 2023 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations after losing 1-0 to the Gambia in the semi-finals on Monday at the Cairo International Stadium in Egypt. Eagles of Nigeria 1-0 to qualify for, Adama Bojang scored the only goal of the game in the 7th minute to help the young Scorpions of Gambia qualify for the first ever Under-20 AFCON final at the expense of 7-time champions Nigeria. The Flying Eagles had a chance to get back into the game after they were awarded a penalty with 5 minutes left, but substitute Ahmed Abdullahi missed it as his shot hit the post. Gambia were reduced to 10 men in the 89th minute following a rash challenge by Haruna Njie, who was dismissed after his second yellow card. Despite going a man down, the Gambia held on to seal a first ever final ticket. Gambia, who are yet to concede a goal in the tournament, will now face Senegal in the final on Saturday 11th of March at the Cairo International Stadium. The Senegalese, who are yet to concede a goal, thrust Tunisia 3-0 in the first semi-final on Monday. The Flying Eagles will face Tunisia in the third-place match on Friday, the 10th of March, at the Cairo International Stadium. Elsewhere, Nigerian sensation Victor Osimhen has won the 2022 prize for Foreign Athlete of the Year in Italy. The winner was announced in a statement by the organizers of the award, the Foreign Press Association in Italy, on Monday. According to the statement, the 24-year-old Super Eagles striker was given the prize because he is fundamental to Napoli's extraordinary success, thanks to his excellent play, great power, incredible speed and vocation for scoring goals. Osimhen has been in blistering form for Napoli this season, leading the league goal scoring chart with 19 goals. His terrific partnership with Georgian star Kvicha Kvaratskhelia has been instrumental in Napoli opening a 15-point lead at the top of the Italian Serie A. The Foreign Athlete Award comes a few weeks after Osimhen also won the Serie A Player of the Month award in January. He also claimed the award for the Goal of the Month with a sublime volley against AS Roma. Osimhen was also named the Emerging Player of the Year at the 2022 Globe Soccer Awards. He beat Barcelona's Gavi and Federico Valverde of Real Madrid for the prize meant for the best young football talent in the world. And that's it from sports, and that's the news. But before we go, a quick recap of the headlines. Federal government raises concerns over impact of funding others on national census. INEC asks court to allow it reconfigure BVAS for March 11th elections. And court grants bill to House of Representatives leader Doguwa over alleged murder charge. Do remember that the continued unity of Nigeria is a collective responsibility. Be sure to play your part. KUFM News Dawn was produced by Blessing Asekome. I am Gloria Vitalis saying thanks for listening. Good morning.